First conversation of the day this morning as we journey on the 260226. Tech Note this morning is focusing on smart engineering for Uganda's sustainable future, with UNESCO proclaiming World Engineering Day, which is known as WED, to highlight the central role of engineering in achieving sustainable development. Now, the 2026 theme, Smart Engineering for a Sustainable Future Through Innovation and Digitization, does align directly with Uganda's vision of 2040 and the National Development Plan 3 in priority, especially when it comes to infrastructure expansion, digital transformation, and of course, is something that the President has been up and about the country advocating for and popularizing, that is industrialization. That being said, we put together a collection of engineers who are bringing us this perspective and how it actually trickles down to Uganda, especially when it comes to smart future and digitalization. Joining me this morning is Engineer Professor Henry Alinaitwe, who's the Chairperson Engineers Registration Board. You're most welcome and Happy New Year, if I may say that.
Yeah, thank you very much and Happy New Year. And thank you for receiving us in the studio.
It's a pleasure to have you. Last we talked, we were making an assessment of the Engineers Registration Board and the achievements that had been met. What are some of the highlights that we can reflect on today?
Yeah, so many things have happened. At that time we were still also talking about registration of engineers. We've got increase in our registration, but we're still demanding that our engineers register and they were able to regulate our profession well. We have tried to popularize also engineering in our schools and institutions. And I think things are getting better. Okay, That's good progress. We're also being joined by Engineer Tutu Cara, who's a board member, Engineers Registration Board. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
May I say Happy Women's Day in advance, because I know I may not be seeing you.
Thank you. Happy Women's
next
Day.
week. That being said, let me start with you, Professor. How does smart engineering through innovation and digitalization actually resonate with Uganda's development path that we're projecting to take?
So the theme, as you've said, is smart engineering for sustainable future through innovation and digitization. And this world is largely about engineering. When you look at most of the things you see, tangible things in this world, they're about engineering, or they're influenced by engineering. You look at cars, you look at energy that we use, you look at telecom, like in this studio, it's largely about engineering. And so the importance of engineering in the world cannot be underscored. It's very, very important. And those countries that have developed, they have developed quite fast and quite a lot because of their engineering, the promotion, the use, the application of engineering. So as Uganda, we cannot afford to lag behind. So there are all these things that we're talking about, the plans that we have for the country. Again, we've talked about NDP 4 and of course Vision 2040 for Uganda. When you look at the key things that are talked about there, the promises, they're largely hinged on engineering. And so that's why we need to
just so we're clear, because some people may be wondering, where exactly in the NDP4 plan does it tie to engineering? Just to highlight for us those specific ones that actually are hinged greatly on engineering. Yeah,
I mean, if you're talking about industrialization, you're talking about power. Electricity, you're talking about, telecommunications, you're talking about industry, all those are to do with engineering. If you're talking about infrastructure, you're talking about roads, the road networks in the country and so on. All that's largely about engineering. So even other sectors, if you're talking about education, you're talking about, health, you're talking about agriculture. If you're going to use irrigation, for example, that's also about engineering. So all those are facets of engineering that are very important in our development that we must embrace and promote and be deliberate as a country to harness.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Engineer Tutu, from your practitioner's point of view, how visible is engineering in Uganda's everyday life?
I mean, I drove into this place and I saw scaffolding and hoarding. I mean, this place is a construction site right now, so that's engineering. I mean, the cars that we drive, that's engineering. The roads that we're driving on. That's engineering. So it's very visible, but as the lack of engineering as well, it's also visible. I mean, like when it rains, you see the drainage channels are flooding. That is also a lack of engineering. That is visible. Yes.
What other elements do indicate the lack of engineering?
No, I mean, we've had incidents where buildings are collapsing, and we have our dams that we're receiving fault reports from, like, frequently. We have there's so many, like, it's something new in the news every day,
yeah.
And it's quite terrifying.
So is that to say that as Uganda we are not fully appreciative of the role of engineering in national transformation?
This is true because I mean the number of collapsed buildings is terrifying, yes, but also the people who are putting up all of this construction, I think are not engaging the right professionals to do this work. I mean, you walk onto a site and you'll find that there are no approved drawings, you know, and there's a lot of stuff missing, like health and safety is missing on site. The people are not wearing the proper protective gear, and what else? Yes, I don't think engineers are being appreciated as well as we should be.
Okay, that's very interesting. Professor, allow me to come back to you and ask from your school of thought if Uganda is building infrastructure that is sustainable for resilience.
Yes, Uganda is dropping, just like many other parts of the world. And there are things that we do, and of course they'll be there for us for generations. So when you talk about sustainability, we're really looking at what we have for the future. Whatever we're doing, we should also have in mind the future. 50 years from now, how will it be? So yes, there's infrastructure we're putting in place that will help the future, and therefore it's promoting sustainability. But there are also things that we are doing that may not be that sustainable. So that's why we need professionals like engineers and others that are in the ecosystem to plan for these things well, to make sure they're implemented well, so that even the future can benefit from these things that we have.
That being said, what are the contributions to the poor sustainability that we're talking about, some of which Engineer Tutu has mentioned?
The contribution? Yeah. Yes, there are people who are not qualified. And so they do things in a haphazard way, and so we end up having issues. I mean, she has talked about buildings collapsing. We shouldn't be having buildings collapsing. And these are relatively short buildings. If you're talking about a building which is only 3 stories and it collapses,
well, the building is collapsing, engineer. Even the houses that are being built for us today, you enter the house today, and 3 months down the road, you're seeing cracks in the walls.
Yeah, it's because of lack of professionalism. Like she has said, many of our clients want to just engage people who can do something but not in a very professional way. They will not have given it the due analysis and depth required. So people will just construct, and then when the thing collapses, then nobody is responsible. I've been involved in a number of investigations where, say, buildings collapse, and then you find that there were no engineers, there were no registered engineers. Even when you ask for the documentation, it's not even there. So who then is responsible becomes an issue. So we wouldn't want to blame the engineers for that kind of thing, but what we are saying as engineers, as the body responsible for registering engineers and regulating them, that we need to use qualified people who are duly registered, and we do the jobs in a professional way. You know, do the analysis well, do the documentation well, do the construction well, of whatever facility, not just buildings. And then we're able to have a sustainable, ecosystem. Okay.
That being said, how is the World Engineering, the World Engineering Day going to be observed here in Uganda?
Yes. So the World Engineering Day is a day that was set aside by UNESCO. So it's global. It's a global day to commemorate or to celebrate, and celebrated on the 4th of March every year. And so world over, it's being celebrated. It will be celebrated on the 4th. And so in Uganda, we're going to have it also on 4th. And on that day, on 4th, we shall have a conference attracting engineers, of course, and other stakeholders who are involved in, who are interested in engineering. Those include, of course, legislators, policymakers, government officials, they'll be there. But prior to the conference on 4th, we're going to have a run, and I encourage you, Madam, to come and run with us on Sunday 2nd. You come and run with us.
I will come and cheer you running.
First, no,
and actually see
first,
if you'll
not
be
second.
On the first 10. Yes.
Yeah, first on Sunday first. So we're going to have a run then, and then we shall have a webinar, an interaction.
Before we go to the webinar, what will be the purpose of the run towards
the purpose of the run is again to celebrate engineering and popularize engineering, and also make engineering visible. You know, so that we attract as many stakeholders as possible, including students. You know, the government, I know the government has had the policy of promoting science, but many people still fear sciences, mathematics especially, physics, and those are the key ingredients of engineering. To do engineering, you must have done mathematics, you must have done physics, should have done, you know, a good amount of chemistry, and then other supplementary subjects. So we're also popularizing it so that people do not fear engineering per se. And then, of course, we also highlight that we need to do many more things. You know, in some other places, some other countries, there are deliberate efforts to make sure that the local engineers build capacity. You know, and want to see that one also happen in Uganda. We're in Egypt recently with my colleague, and you could see very deliberate efforts to make sure that the engineers are fully in charge. Even what seems very new in the world, then we would rather bring that new technology, have it in the country, but promote our own engineers also to fully embrace it. And then after some time, these people must go away, and we should be fully in charge.
Okay. Yeah. Speaking of capacity building, Engineer Tutu, you're a lady, and of course this is a field that at the beginning it was looked at as a men's field, but I know that it has made room for women to also come in and actually thrive. You being a board member, what is your say in terms of capacity building to encourage and open the door wider for women to uptake engineering and also to be registered?
First off, I disagree that engineering is a man's field or something that only men can do. I mean, I've heard that what men can do, women can do better. I stand to be corrected, but I'm honestly, I don't know why ladies are afraid of engineering. It is, I don't want to say it's simple, but it's good. I'm passionate about engineering, and so it is something that I'm interested in, and I would love for other ladies like myself to be interested in the field. However, I'm not sure where the fear comes from, and as a member of the board, I'm trying to reach out to as many ladies in engineering as possible to come and register and, you know, be like pillars in the community, because we're very few and far between. Yeah.
That being said, what are the actionable steps that are being taken by the board to ensure that there's, you know, recognition and pulling those women that are fearing to actually come out and say, I'm an engineer by profession?
Yeah, okay, well, so we have enhancement programs that are targeted for the lady engineers. We have university visits where we go to sensitize ladies in engineering and students at large to just to encourage and say you can do this. Like, it's not only a man's thing. If I can do it, I mean, I'm a little person, but if I can do it, then even bigger people can do it.
That's true. Yes. Well, you have made mention of inspiration and having to go to the universities and have an interactive engagement with them to encourage them. This lies solely into education, where I want to come back to you, Professor. In terms of education, how are we seeing our education adapting quickly to the technological shift that we're seeing across the globe?
Yes, in terms of education, of course, the curriculum at the university is also not static. And in our schools, even the lower schools, the secondary, we've seen changes in the curriculum to have more competence-based material. So even at the university, it's the same thing that we're always also adjusting. And we compare with what other countries and universities are doing. And I can say that our training is okay, but at times what's lacking is the practical bit of it. Because of our low level of industrialization, our capacities that we have in the country, the practical bit is a bit, needs to be improved. But on the theory part, I will tell you that our Ugandan engineers are as good as, or even better, than engineers in the UK or engineers in the USA. Many of our people who have gone to those places have really performed well. You see them coming back with very good, grades and so on. So I think the issue of the practical bit is what's a bit lacking, as I've said. And that is, we commend government that now they are putting these industrial hubs. And also, like at Makere, they are going to, the government is going to support us with the capacitating the colleges that handle sciences, that teach sciences. So we're going to get state-of-the-art equipment in many areas, and that will go a long way in making sure that our engineers are more practical. And so at the end of it all, we're able to, do all the things ourselves. Okay.
Speaking of government, what's going to be government's contribution to the commemoration of World Engineering Day?
Oh yes, it is substantial because, as I've said, this World Engineering Day is a world celebrated event. And definitely even in Uganda, we are, and our board, our Engineers Relation Board, is under the Ministry of Works and Transport, where our own engineer, General Katumba Wamara is the minister. And the government is contributing to the activities, like the conference I've talked about. They are providing most of the resources for the conference. And of course, even the officiation will be done by the government officials, the minister himself. And we also expect the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Taebwa, to grace the occasion. So you can see government is fully involved in it. And as I've said, even legislators are there, policymakers, some of the CEOs will be there. So it's really fully embraced by government. Okay. And we want to thank them. Like I've already said, what we should do is to really promote engineering, because it's engineering that delivers most of the things that you see, the tangible things that you see in the world.
Yeah, actually, now it is connected. The seat I'm sitting on is engineered. So engineering.
Even the dress you are putting on.
I know, right? So it is true. Engineering is everything, and everything that is around us. Also, speaking to the theme of 2026, I'm seeing smart engineering for sustainable future. This is through innovation and digitalization. How does that resonate in practice with Uganda's development plan?
Oh yes, it resonates very well. First of all, the issue of sustainability, we've already emphasized it. Yeah. The issue of smart engineering is very critical. These days we're talking about cars with the digital number plates. What that means is that those number plates can easily be picked, the key features can be picked and kept somewhere in a pool, so that we have all the information regarding the movement of vehicles. That's about being smart, but also in a digital way, And then, of course, the issue of there are many things that use these smart engineering solutions. I've talked about the issue of the cars. Even it can be used in agriculture, in irrigation, so that you have sensors in the soil, so that when the moisture becomes low, then it can trigger the system to open, so that water can flow. So those are the kind of solutions we're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah. Or even like traffic management.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of congestion in Kampala. I mean, traffic jam, especially at the junctions. And with those technologies, it means you can easily identify where the jam is coming from, and then have traffic-actuated signaling. So that instead of having policemen all the time stopping and releasing cars, at times they release them when the line is not moving, then the smart system would be able to say, you know, here these cars can go. Okay. Here these ones should stop for the time being, and in a moderated way.
Yeah. Engineer Tutu, in which way is infrastructure smart for us here in Uganda in 2026?
Smart infrastructure is really digitally integrated, data-driven, resilient systems that are built, that are engineered to optimize performance. I don't know if the English is too much, but these are the examples of this are predictive intelligence, where we have sensors in systems. Take for example, I specialize in fluid mechanics, and so if I give you an example of construction of a building, if you're constructing an office block, you have a firefighting system, you have an HVAC system, you have a drainage and water supply. Okay. So if you want a smart building, a smart infrastructure, these buildings have to be, these systems have to be connected, right? And so they are managed through like a central asset management system. We call it a building management system, BMS. So in the case, for example, of a fire, in case there's a fire, the sensors in the building, you have smoke detectors, you have sensors in the sprinklers that will turn the sprinkler system on. At the same time, that centralized BMS system will know to turn off the fresh air in the building, to turn off, the fresh air in the building, and then also to turn on the staircase pressurization for evacuation.
Let me say this in Uganda, Engineer Tutu. Awonanga masanyalaze teganagenda. But that being said, because we see it, we're in a privileged to be in an era where we are exposed to how this smart engineering is transforming the nations in other parts of the world. That being said, as we're coming to the wrap of the conversation, Engineer Tutu, in regards to Uganda, what steps must Uganda take in order to adopt this smart way of engineering for a better future?
First off, I think we have to be open to it. I know a lot of us are afraid of like the unknown, the future. We've heard of AI taking over our homes and AI turning against us, but we have to be open to it because it's coming. So either we jump on the bandwagon or we get left behind. Okay. So we have to be open to it and embrace it because this is where the future is heading. Okay. Yes.
All right. Professor, what would be the country's engineering priority for the next decade in order to realize this thing?
Of course, the priority is to put in place the necessary infrastructure, which the country is doing, because now we can see we have internet backbone almost throughout the country. They also need to build capacity within the institutions, but also even like universities, to make sure that we're on board as far as these smart technologies are concerned. Because yes, AI came and everybody, it took the whole world by storm, but we must fully embrace it, and we must learn it. We must know how to code. We must have, like she's talking about, those sensors and whatever. We must be able to appreciate them and make some of those components see ourselves. So once we have the capacity, once we have the need, and the needs are there. The applications are there. Like we've talked about the issue of traffic management alone. that would be a great thing to manage.
The adoption.
Yeah.
All right. In closing, World Engineering Day and what next?
Yeah, so in closing, yeah, we have said that we'll have the run on Sunday first. The run is going to be at Chambogo, so we invite all the stakeholders, all the people interested in engineering, promoting engineering, to come. To start early at around 7:30 at the Chambogo grounds, and then we run. Of course, we also run for health, in addition to promoting engineering and these issues we're talking about. Then on Monday, we shall have a webinar, especially targeting the youth. And those who want to hear more about engineering solutions, smart engineering solutions, AI, and Internet of Things and other things. So we're going to have that on Monday. And of course, it is on Zoom. It will be, so they can stay in their comfort.
All right.
Then on Wednesday, that's when we're going to have the conference. And as I've said, it's going to be at Hotel Africana here in Kampala. And the guest of honor will be the Honorable Tayebwa, the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, and our ministers will be there, the Minister General Katumba Wamala, and the Ministers of State and others. Okay. And we also expect visitors from outside the country to come and be with us.
Thank you so much, Professor Alinaitwe, as well as Engineer Tutu, for making the time to open our eyes to how engineering is actually in my face. This is engineering. Yes. And Morning at NTV is engineering the conversations of the day. I'm being joined by my colleague,